The old way is dead. Forcing results with willpower and getting stuck inside the yo-yo cycle fails every single time. The new way is how me and my clients are effortlessly printing wins. We're creating flow, and then we're building a flywheel that makes results easier and easier and easier every time, and the longer we do it. So let's take a look here. Here's an illustration to kind of show you that. Here's the old way. This gets harder every time. You start a strict diet. Most people have done this once or many times. You inevitably lose willpower the longer that you do the diet. Maybe that takes you a few weeks, maybe a few months, maybe even over a year, but eventually you lose willpower. And then what happens when you lose willpower? Well, you end up being a little bit too flexible with your food decisions. You lose complete structure, and then eventually you lose control and you quit. And then what happens after long enough time after you've lost control and quit? You will restart a strict diet and you will go through the cycle again. And that's the yo-yo cycle. But you never actually get anywhere. All the best solutions currently go far too much in either end of the strict and flexible spectrum, leading to the common experience of bouncing between either ends. Overly strict diet, then fall off track, lose total control, cycling back to overly strict diet, relying on willpower, hoping this time it works maybe. No, it doesn't. It never does, because you're stuck in this cycle. This inevitably results in either no progress, no sustainability, or both. The current problems with modern day fat loss can be explained by mistakenly playing at either ends of the spectrum with no long-term plan or strategy. But at its core, it's a willpower mismanagement problem. So the willpower paradox is what I call this. Basically, this is what happens, right? When you start a plan of any kind, when you're working towards a goal of any kind, not even necessarily fitness, willpower supply will inevitably go down over time. Now, this is basically how much willpower you have available. Now, the problem with that is your willpower demands will increase over time, because typically these diets get harder and harder the longer you do them, okay? And what you can see here is you get a growing gap. And this is the delta between the two. And as you can see, once they cross, they get farther and farther away from each other. At some point, the whole thing breaks. So we actually want a little bit of a different scenario here. So as time gets on, the gap gets larger and inevitable failure happens. So the MacroIntuitive Protocol solves this by closing that gap. This is what it looks like. So willpower supply inevitably will go down, but we want willpower demand to actually stay low here, because this actually keeps the gap relatively close. Now, this isn't a perfect illustration, of course, my beautiful handwriting, but the point is it shows that there isn't a widening gap here. These are always close together the entire time. That's kind of the goal here. So the big difference here is like willpower supply still comes down like every other scenario. That's just a part of life. But the willpower demand, we are in control of that because the system's a lot simpler and it integrates with life a lot better because it's not super extreme on either end. So because of that, we can keep willpower demand literally hovering around the bottom basically the entire time, which is cool. So then we get no gap. It's a lot easier to sustain long term. In fact, it gets easier the longer you do it. Here's the new way. This actually is the opposite because it gets easier over time. First of all, execution creates momentum. We want to take execution on simple action items that work. These simple action items will create momentum, and momentum creates flow. When we create flow, we now reduce willpower. When we reduce willpower, execution becomes effortless. When execution becomes effortless, this entire flywheel effect is created. And now we've created a cycle that actually works in our favor the more and more it occurs, which is pretty cool. This is the whole point of putting this protocol into practice, is creating this flywheel effect so that you have time work on your side instead of time work against you. No more extreme diets that rely on white knuckling your way through it just to rebound when it's over and then slide back to square one. No more healthy eating tactics that never actually change your physique and leave you looking like every other average Joe. Most people resort to one or the other. It's either super extreme diets or it's like, oh, I'll just eat a little healthier and I'll do whole wheat bread instead of white bread. Bad strategy. The protocol isn't even a diet. This is really just a simple way to eat. You're not going to see anything in here about eat this, don't eat that, this food is good, this food is bad. This is a way to think and a way to eat. I formulated the MacroIntuitive Protocol as a nutrition system that actually gets results in the real world by striking the perfect balance of restriction and flexibility. The MacroIntuitive Protocol is the system responsible for getting me to 9% body fat 2 separate times. I've done this twice now, so I've proved this thing more than once with myself, and I've proved this hundreds of times with my clients over the last 8 years. The system has also helped me easily maintain 12% body fat and a six-pack without giving up travel plans once a month, a date night twice a week with my wife, and plenty of all-you-can-eat sushi. Also, Pizza Wednesdays on the left here, as you can see. I created it based on all the insight I've collected from working with over 500 clients at this point, and have continued to refine it after testing and retesting it on myself over and over and over again. It takes data-driven tactics from macro-based dieting and blends them with the habits from intuitive-based eating to create a truly sustainable system that generates predictable results and makes them stick. The real magic of the system is that over time, you naturally begin creating a flywheel that gets easier the longer you do it, not harder. Okay, so let's go through the two parts of this system, the macro part and the intuitive part. So the macro part, this is basically where you have 90 to 92% of your meals are strict. They are tracked and they are precise. We follow personalized macros or a simple meal plan. Either one works fine. The reason why is because we can actually track them. And when we can track them, we can get precision. When we get precision, we get data. And off of that, we get informed decision making, okay? Otherwise, we're guessing. If you're not assessing, you're guessing. We will weigh and track everything to the gram in these scenarios, whether it's macros or meal plan. That way, we have no gray area. This is crucial. And this is why people in like the bodybuilding world, this is why they get such elite results. One of the reasons is they follow this to the extreme side of things. Typically, you don't see very good sustainability in that world, right? But they do a great job with problem number one, which is actually getting the results and achieving an elite physique. But I want an elite physique, but I want to hang on to it. Well, how do I do that? We blend it with the intuitive part, right? So the intuitive part, this is about 8 to 10%. So the remainder is about 8 to 10% flexible. So these are like your off-plan meals, or what we call in the protocol, free meals, okay? These are 2 free meals that are totally untracked per week. Now, these are not cheat meals. These are deployed with intention. They are deployed with mindfulness. These are an opportunity to practice intuitive eating skills and make healthy food decisions on the fly that support your goals. We're not looking for perfection here, because this is life. Life has a level of chaos that you just need to get comfortable with. And if you can't maintain your fitness during chaos, you are going to fail at some point. This also gives us the opportunity to enjoy restaurants, enjoy travel, enjoy social events, holidays, family, all that stuff without actually worrying about falling off track, which most people do. It's like, oh my goodness, Thanksgiving's coming up. Oh my goodness, Christmas is coming up. How am I ever going to maintain my results? Well, that tells me your system sucks and you need a better system. This also gives us an opportunity to build skills for long-term maintenance that can actually last decades. So you're planting seeds long-term. Okay, this is what I do with my clients when I'm setting them up in a fat loss phase. In the short term, we're trying to lose fat. But in the long term, we're actually planting seeds so that they develop the confidence and the skills needed to keep those results forever.